How are you today? This is Wednesday, the 10th of September 2025, and the overflow today is adaptability. Adaptability. What comes to your mind when you hear the word adaptability? Adaptability is the key to thrive, to succeed in a fast changing world. Things are changing so fast as we speak. New things are coming up. Technology being created, applied, policies, changes in governments around the world. In fact, changes always take place. We are getting old. We need to adapt. Our children are getting older, and we need to adapt, right? But adaptability is your ability to adjust to new conditions. It is the skill of taking what you already have and modifying it to a new use. Or you modify it to a new purpose, or repurpose it, or you modify it in a different context. So in today's fast-moving world, adaptability isn't optional, it's essential. Right? But true adaptability doesn't mean you have to abandon your values. Instead, it means you keep walking by your principles, by your values. That the values are the raw material of your life. Principles are the raw material of creation. Can change. What are the words I'm looking for? The principles of nature. For example, sleeping. You still need to sleep. You still need to feed yourself. You still need to drink water. So there are things you can't change, but you will have to adapt. Right? Your body needs to adapt. When you travel to a different part of the world, AI, hi. Thanks for engaging. Welcome. Are you trans? No, I'm not trans. It's an interesting question in the morning. We're talking about adaptability. So when you travel, for instance, I've traveled last year to the Philippines, and that is very far away from where I live. So your body, your mind needs to adapt because of the time zone. So it's adaptability, adapting to the weather, adapting to the heat, adapting to the food, adapting to the culture. You need to adapt to live and to succeed in the new environment that you are in. In fact, talking about moving countries, I have lived in 6 different countries. In each time, I had to learn to adapt, to engage, to perform well. And it has been a difficult experience, but also very rewarding, connecting with new people, new culture. In 2 occasions, learning a different language. That has been a rich experience to me. And for those of us who have the opportunity to travel and live in a different place, so adaptability is key, right? Modeling, if you have heard about the idea of modeling, the neurolinguistics, PNL uses a lot, which basically observing someone, a successful person, the actions and the thoughts, the patterns of what make that person successful, and trying to adapt those patterns to your own reality. So it's not necessarily copying everything, but you need to adapt to your reality. You capture the wisdom and the knowledge, the style, and what is working for that person, and you adapt it to your reality. Think about a plug, an adapter, and I have one here to show you, because my computer is from Europe, it's from Germany when I was living there, then I'm moving to the UK. You need to have an UK plug. So you may have the most powerful device, but if you do not have the right adapter, after your battery is gone, you can't plug in. Good morning, Melon Pip. Yes, good to have you here. It is early, definitely. Rajadip Das, hello, I'm Indian. Hi, greetings to India. Thank you for engagement, Haj. We're talking about adaptability today, and I'll just give you an example of a plug. You need to adapt into your context to where we are in, right? Now, examples for adaptability in business: the automobile mobile industry, car industry, they had to adapt to climate change and to consumers' demand for sustainability. People are concerned about sustainability. So Elon Musk came disruptive idea and launched his Tesla cars. You may like, you may dislike him. It was disrupted, and the other companies started launching and designing their own electrical cars, which you can see. I think most car companies these days have the electrical version, or they are changing. I think by 2030 it will be, I can't remember, I can't tell you, don't quote me on that, but I think it's a fast changing that in our world, that most vehicles, if possible, will be electrical. COVID-19, the pandemic, if you have not changed in your business and adapt those businesses that were able to go online and have an online platform, they thrived. But if you're stuck into your old patterns and old systems, you probably struggled very much. Or clap your sticks, I adopt to ULES. Mass buy diesel cars and hold them and sell them higher prices. Hold the first cars and learn friendly cars to sell at higher prices. That's interesting, yeah. You probably understand about that, Clapius, yeah. You look like Brad Pitt without hair. That's a funny quote there. But thank you for the engagement and for your thoughts. But we're talking about adaptability. So businesses, they adapt all the time to survive. And the pandemic was a great example worldwide of people, organizations, business, religious groups, churches, they couldn't meet. They start going online. Schools, my kids having online lessons, it was a mess. But in order to survive, we need to adapt, right? Right, diesel cars were so cheap when they were sent out of London due to ULES. Thank you for your quote there on the cars. If you're interested, check out what Clapius is saying. But in the digital world, traditional advertising in the past, it was changed. People advertise with leaflets and outdoors, and they still do that. But these days, in the digital world, even if you own a bakery, you have a place in Facebook or Instagram. You are connecting with your neighborhood. You are connecting with your town. You have perhaps allow people to order from you digitally. So that is a change. So if you are a businessman, if you have a shop, and if you're not in the digital, you don't exist. That's adaptability. Marriage, relationships, every day. I've been married for 19 years now. And we need to adapt. Even after many years together, you get to know the person, you get to know to new circumstances. Your partner suddenly have a new job and a new schedule. A family needs to adapt to that. Your child is growing up and moving to a high school or becoming a teenager. You need to adapt to that reality as well. Need to start reading books. You get the book when you have a baby, how to bring up a child. Then you have a teenager suddenly in the house, very opinionative, argumentative. So wow, who is this person in my house? Learning and adapt to that reality. Love your haircut. Thank you, man. Let me clear my hair from my face. Kind words, man. What about faith? You know, Paul the apostle, he adapted. You know, he wasn't a digital nomad, but he traveled quite a bit. He was a businessman and he made tents. And so then in the market, as he was sharing the faith, he was spreading the good news. And he write down, when he was writing to the Philippians, he said, I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. He was talking about finance. I know how to have a lot, to prosper. Sometimes businesses are doing well, or I get some support from the brethren. And sometimes I don't have much. And I have learned to live with little. And I have learned to live well. That's a great principles. When we're doing great, if you're running your business, when the things are amazing, yes, enjoy it. Give a bit of a bonus to your staff if you can. But when things are tough, you may have to get people, you know, dismiss a few people because you can't provide for them. And that's the reality of adaptability for survival. Right. Mirhub Noor Fahad says, do you believe in God? Yes, I believe in the creator and intelligent designer. You know, I cannot conceive the idea that everything came just by chance. I believe in a designer that has made the beautiful world that we have today. But of course, we have messed up, right? It's not a perfect place, but it's a beautiful place. Now, adaptability is a core concept in psychology, in leadership, and personal growth. Studies on resilience shows that adaptable people can cope better with the stress and they can succeed in unpredictable environment. And adaptability is what keeps you growing and moving towards your purpose. So without it, you risk being stuck in the past while the world moves on. Right. So Merhub is asking which religion you believe. I don't necessarily believe in a particular religion. I believe in the person of Jesus. So you could say that, oh, you are a Christian, Flav. Yes, well, I was born into a Christian family, but I don't necessarily believe that Jesus came to this world to start a religion. I think we humans, we create religions. What are religions? Systems that we create with beliefs and things, and there are many religion around the world today. But I believe Jesus is who he said he is. In fact, the religious people at that time, when he's contacted the one who took him to cross, right? But I believe in the kingdom of God. And I believe Jesus is the King of Kings. He is the Son of God. He is who he said who he was. You know, if you understand if you have read the gospel and understand, Jesus was it was either truth what he was saying, if you look at the historical evidence of his life, his crucifixion and resurrection, or he was a lunatic, and whatever happened didn't happen. So because through history we see that he happened what he says, because we had eyewitnesses, I came to the conclusion that he is what he says he was, and therefore I follow Christ and I follow the gospel. So answering your questions, you know, I don't like to put myself in a box, or this person is a Christian, or someone else is a Buddhist or Muslim, or, you know, I like to think that I'm following a person, and I'm following the person of Christ. But that's my personal journey with Christ, my personal relationship. This channel is a channel about wisdom, and we do touch in spirituality now and again. We have a series of reading Proverbs, which is in the Hebrew Bible, in the Old Testament, and I because it's a blessing to me, and I believe it's a blessing to others. But thank you, it's a very valid question. Yeah, is religion important for life? It's a very good question. What do you think? Let me throw that question back to you. Is that important to you? You know, depending what you mean by religion and by being religious. right? If you're thinking the practice of prayer, meditation, being thankful, is this part of a religion? Then it is very, very meaningful, right? If it is something that brings community and people together, I would say it's very important, right? But people will do crazy things, evil things in the name of religion as well. So we need to filter, right? And as humans, look at this: what message, what narratives will create a better world, will bring peace, understanding, and what are the narratives that actually will divide us and create issues and problems and divide instead of bringing us, humanity, together. Anyway, I leave that thought to you. Yeah, no one is born with a religion. Yeah, very good thought. Guys, I leave you few activities for you in the areas of adaptability. Is almost 6:10 where I live, and I have to get ready for work, get ready for life. Now, think about a recent adversity you face. Was it under your control or not? Adapt your mind quickly and seek solutions instead of staying stuck. So if you're facing a challenge, trying to think outside of the box. Recall a situation where you had to adapt fast to solve a problem. Reflect on other options you might have had. Sometimes that happens. You solve a problem, but afterwards you think, wow, I could have done this, I could have done that. So take your time to reflect on that. Identify a habit or behavior that no longer serves you and decide to change it today, not tomorrow. Try to adapt it today. And the last thing is watch out for perfectionism. You know, perfectionism is the biggest enemy of adaptability. And some of us that are perfectionists, we struggle. If things are not perfect, we don't do it. I would have been thinking about creating this channel and do lives long time, but it's not perfect. I don't have a studio. I'm in my kitchen. I bought a light in IKEA. You know, I use my personal phone. It's definitely not ideal, but it's something. I need to go, oh, I speak with an accent. Perhaps I might think, I'm not a qualified person to be talking about wisdom. Well, I'm seeking wisdom and learning and studying. Why not share with the world what I'm learning? Today is adaptability. So I thank you guys for stopping by, for connecting, for engaging. Thank you, Mirub, for your thoughts on religions. I would love to connect with you more. How do we learn morality? It's a very powerful question. I use scriptures. I believe in the gospel and also in the Old Testament. That is where, I take some of my thinkings, but the gospel will fulfill the Old Testament. Claudius, thank you for stopping by, for engagement on cars, on the automobile industry. Lateliff and Raj from India, Melon Pip in AI. Thank you guys. Hey, God bless you. Have a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will catch up tomorrow, hopefully. Bye for now. Thanks, Leon. Hey, God bless. Thank you very much.